Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. We're going to start here in a couple of minutes, but I'm just going to let a few more people join. Nice to see a few familiar faces here. Pam. Hi, Ome. Hi, Katerina. Good to see you all. Okay, maybe one more minute. We'll wait till 2 minutes after. Okay, let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Sarah, and I'm here with Amy Pietzarka from Previmedica of Cell Science Systems. And we're really excited to be co-hosting this session today with you all. Today, we're going to be exploring how personalized supplements, when paired with intracellular micronutrient testing and antioxidant testing, can make a real difference for you and your patients and in their health. We'll show you how the process works. We'll walk you through the practitioner portal and share tips on how to recognize patterns based on those results and patient recommendations. And we're here, and we're especially excited here to announce 9 new ingredients that VitaminLab has just added to our practitioner portal, and these are based on demand from the Cell Science Systems Antioxidant Protection Assay. Of course, we're going to leave plenty of time at the end for questions. If at any point during the session you have any questions, you can pop them into the Q&A section of the chat there. And before we dive in, I did want to start a poll. So have a look at the poll here. Which best describes you? So would love to see who we have here today. Either you are actively ordering from Cell Science Systems and you're here to learn more about VitaminLab, or you're actively ordering from VitaminLab here to learn more about Cell Science Systems, or you're completely new to both companies and you're here to learn lots about the benefits here of personalized formulas based off of micronutrient testing. Awesome. So many new people. I love it. Welcome.
Yeah, I see a lot of new names.
Yeah. Okay. While you guys keep answering those questions, I'll hop into my presentation here. VitaminLab exists because there is a gap in personalized health, and we've identified that gap. Patients are coming to practitioners and they're wanting more personalized health solutions. So this is a patient-driven demand, which is really exciting. Practitioners are struggling to recommend a truly tailored option, especially when we're considering, a really comprehensive micronutrient and antioxidant assay to try to piecemeal together all the generic products to be able to cover therapeutic doses of those specific ingredient insufficiencies. It's a tough thing to juggle. Multiple brands and so many capsules, it ends up being low compliance. Patients are also very well informed these days. So there's a lot of uncertainty about quality out there. They want to make sure that they're getting the best quality ingredients. It's going to be third-party tested. All of that is so important to the demand in the supplement industry right now. Personalized healthcare is not just a trend, it is the new standard, and we see this indicated here in the market expected growth. These numbers are all in the billions, if you can imagine. Expected exponential growth here into 2028, up to 30 billion. And by you being here, you are actively a part of that growth, because you're already offering a personalized health solution and tailored health solutions to your patients. Supplements is just that natural next step. The point that I really love to talk about here with practitioners that really resonates is that personalization and your recommendations helps to increase customer retention by 44%. When you think about this in real time, you can understand it based on, when you're recommending a personalized supplement, your patient will be coming back to you for refills of that product, but also updates to that formula as their treatment progresses with you, as their goals change, as their health changes, and as you are retesting in the long run as well. So this is our product here at VitaminLab, a personalized supplement made simple. So we offer custom compounded formulas that are based on actionable health data from your cell science systems, micronutrient and antioxidant assays. So these are tailored to exactly the recommendations that your patients will receive from their insufficient or borderline nutrients. It's an all-in-one convenience, only active ingredients. You have full control over every ingredient, the form of that ingredient, and the dosage. You will get a full recommendation based off of the tests, but you have full control over editing and modifying that formula. Premium quality delivered. So we drop ship anywhere in the world, but offer free shipping anywhere in Canada or the USA. So anywhere in North America. And then a nice little cherry on top here is that you get to build your brand as well. So you can either choose from VitaminLab's beautiful packaging here, or you have the option to fully white label your personalized supplement. So your logo goes right here. Your patient's name goes on the label, and then their own personal supplement facts get automatically generated on the back, which is pretty cool. Practitioners trust VitaminLab. Our quality assurance practices are our #1 priority. So this is a few extra points that are, speaking to that. Our facility is NSF certified. So we just moved into a big, beautiful facility that we built out ourselves about a month ago. So we're just getting settled in there. We're very excited to be there. It's a big step in our scaling of our business, and we're excited to have you join that movement. All of our ingredients are professional grade. They are sourced with bioavailability at top of mind. And because we're custom compounding every one of our formulas, there's no need for excipients, binders, or artificial fillers. So that long list of non-medical ingredients that you would typically see on the back of the label does not exist with VitaminLab. Every ingredient that comes into our facility gets 3-step testing, including third-party validation. So we do a microbiological test, an ID assay, and heavy metals and impurities, and then send that for external third-party validation of those results, as well as checks and balances every step of the production process, including skip lot batch testing for the finished product. Our packaging, the pouches that you saw there on the last slide, they are eco packaging. So carbon neutral, plant-based. They're made from sustainably sourced sugarcane. So they're plastic free and fully recyclable. And we are made in Canada. So we're on Vancouver Island on the very west coast of Canada. Proud to be there. But we are FDA registered and CGMP as well. I want to hand it over here to Amy, and she's going to review Cell Science Systems and PreviMedica, how these two companies work together, and take you through a little bit more of the process on their side.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Really great to be with you. So my name is Amy Plazarka, and I have been a nutritionist for a little over 40 years at this point, so I've been around a long time. And of those 14 of those 40 years, actually, this week, I've had the privilege and the pleasure to be overseeing an amazing team of nutritionists within and working with Cell Science Systems, of course, but within PreviMedica, excuse me. So PreviMedica, we are a division of Cell Science Systems. And again, a team of nutritionists. We do see people all over the country, and actually in other countries as well. And we are very, very familiar with the cell science systems testing, and our patients who we're working with have all have had the testing done. So that's why I'm here, and here to explain the cellular nutrition assay offered by Cell Science Systems.
All right, so now I'm going to take you through the integration and why it works. I love this slide because it really just makes a nice full picture of exactly the value of a personalized supplement. So rather than recommending multiple different bottles or pill packs with, generic dosing, lots of extra plastic being used, multiple supplements causing overwhelm, and the bill can start to rack up as well, we can just translate that into a custom all-in-one formula with easy refills and patient-specific dosing. That's the key. Before we get into the test and then transferring that over to VitaminLab, excited to announce and introduce 9 new ingredients, premium quality ingredients that are now available for your formulations. So we have Assay extract, Andrographis, 2 new high quality omega-3s, one high in DHA, the other high in EPA, extremely bioavailable. I believe you're able to dose about 30% less with these omega-3s because they are so bioavailable. Broccoli seed extract, elderberry, moringa, shiitake, and PQQ. So those are some of the new exciting ingredients that we have for you to utilize in any of your custom compounded formulas. All right, let's hop into the CNA test. And I'm just going to, Amy, can you see the CMA here, or do I have to share my screen differently?
I do not see your screen, your other screen with the.
Give me 1 second. Here we go.
There we go. Yeah, perfect.
Great. Amy, do you want to take it away?
Absolutely. All right. So what you're looking at here is the first page of the first part of the test of the cellular nutrition assays, CNA, offered by Cell Science Systems. And the CNA is 2 tests, really. It's the cellular micronutrient assay, the CMA, that you're looking at right here. And it is we'll talk later about the redox assay and the antioxidant protection assay. And those are for the most part, the new ingredients that have been added are, and actually I see this is an old test result. Is this okay? The PQQ and the Andrographis and the Assay were added because those are antioxidants that are tested in the APA. But if we go back to the cellular micronutrient assay, I want to tell you how this is done. So why this is a beneficial test. Your patients who are testing serum, plasma, maybe they've gotten their vitamin D tested, or they've gotten iron, B12. A serum test is going to be a reflection of what the patient's nutrient status is in the circulation outside of the cells, now being transported throughout the body and hopefully to the cells. But nevertheless, when you see a serum test result, that's going to be what the nutrient status is outside the cells, and also short term. That's not going to tell you what the nutrient status is inside the cells, which, as you know, where nutrients and all the metabolism and biochemistry happens inside the cells, and that's where the nutrients do their job. So that's what this test is telling you. It's a reflection of what the nutrient status is inside the cells, and also pretty long term. So this would be a reflection of what the patient has been consuming or eating and exposed to months leading up to the test, as opposed to the serum, again, outside the cells and short-term indicator. So here's what happens. And you know what, Sarah, it might be better if we go, I don't know if you still have, never mind. I was going to say we could go back to those other slides with the key at the bottom. I don't know if you have the key here. Okay. So here, let me explain what happens though. So what happens is the specimen arrives to the laboratory. Yes. And the cells that are used to do this test are lymphocytes, so a type of the white blood cells. So the lymphocytes are separated from the whole blood. And to one specimen first, a mitogen or a mitosis generator will be added to the patient's specimen of their cells, and without any nutrients added to that specimen. And why that is done is to get the baseline activity rate of the patient's cells. And they do that for everybody whose specimen comes into the laboratory to do this test. So that's important to know. Everybody acts as their own control when they do this test. This is not at all compared to a sample population. As you all know, we all need a different amount of nutrients. One size does not fit all. So that's what they do first. And then picture this in the laboratory. Sorry, there's a train behind me. I don't know if you just heard that. But in the laboratory, there'll be 55 specimens of the patient's cells. So just picture this. I know it's a small image here, but on that front page that you're looking at, there are 55 nutrients. So what happens is in the laboratory, they'll take 55 specimens of the patient's cells, and to each specimen, a different nutrient will be added. That's the only variable in every specimen. So they'll add biotin to one, and then vitamin K1 to another, and pantothenic acid to another. So that's the only variable in each specimen. And then they watch to see what happens to the activity of the cells based on that one variable, the addition of that one nutrient. And they're always going to compare it to the patient's baseline cellular activity rate. So now if you see in that magnified area, where that's really what they did, is they took the bottom left key of the bottom of the page and we magnified it here. So you see the green area is considered the patient's baseline activity rate area. And they take that up to 109%. And then what you'll see here is any nutrients. So you see that other magnified area where you see, for example, delta tocotrienol is in the green, right? And pantothenic acid is in the green. Any nutrient that was added that kept the activity of the cells within the patient's baseline area didn't really increase it. They're saying there's enough of that nutrient in the specimen. And the way I always explain it to patients is I'll say, it's like your cells are saying, I'm good. I already have enough of that. I don't need it. It's not doing anything for me. But any nutrient that was added that enhanced the activity of the cells from 110 to 119% of the patient's baseline, you see that in the yellow area. They're calling that, that's called that borderline insufficiency. And then any nutrient that was added that enhanced it to 120% of the patient's baseline or higher, that's a more significant insufficiency. Now notice we don't call them deficiencies. Well, back before I say that though, the enhancement of the activity of the cells, that's a really good response, but it also means that there was not enough of that particular nutrient in the original specimen. Otherwise, it would not have had that impact. So I always say to patients, it's like your cells are saying, yes, I needed this. This is making me more metabolically active. It's making me healthier. It's making me grow and divide. I have more mitochondria in the cells, so forth. So that's what it means. So it's a good response, but it also means there was not enough of that particular nutrient in the original specimen. Otherwise, it would not have had that effect. So now here's what's happening. It's telling you if there's enough or there's not enough. So when you see it, say like under where you see biotin here on that magnified area where it says 131%, that just means it enhanced the activity of the cells up to 131%, meaning biotin is insufficient in the person's cells. And notice we do not call them deficiencies. Deficiencies is really a diagnosis, but labs really are not allowed to make a diagnosis. But the other reason is we're not looking for overt deficiencies here. And I always use vitamin C as an example, because most people know, vitamin C and scurvy, right? So when someone has an insufficiency in vitamin C, you're not looking for symptoms of scurvy, so think of these as more subclinical deficiencies. Now, if we don't replete these, then they certainly could become, overt deficiencies, but we need to focus on these subclinical insufficiencies and replete them. And then what we'll do, and what you will do if you're new to this test, the more you do this test, the more you'll learn to see patterns in what these nutrient insufficiencies could indicate. And that's what I would be suggesting that you do. It's not about, just saying, oh, we're, insufficient in biotin, let's just do this, let's supplement. No, really, nutrients work together. They work synergistically. So it's not a good idea to just look at one nutrient at a time. Let's look at the patterns in what these nutrient insufficiencies could be indicating. And then that'll give you a better idea of how to go about repleting these nutrients. So again, is it because the patient is not consuming, if they're not eating enough of these nutrients, they're not supplementing with these nutrients or the right type? It's pretty easy to take care of. But what about if they're taking medications that interfere with the nutrient status? And we all know that all medications interfere with some nutrient. Do they have medical conditions that are making them insufficient? Do they have genetic variants that are preventing the nutrient, the active form of the nutrient, to be activated in the cell? Do they have digestive issues, so they're not absorbing these nutrients or assimilating them into the cell? So, or a combination of these. So it's a good idea to be thinking of in that way as well. But here are some patterns that we would look for. And again, you might not be able to see this very well at this point, but I'm sorry. But the other sample, I'm sorry, was an old test result. So here are some patterns. Well, first of all, what about if the patient's taking a statin drug? Right now, coenzyme Q10 is measured on the bottom left here. This person is not insufficient, but we all know about CoQ10 being being depleted by statins. Statins deplete the liver's ability to manufacture coenzyme Q10. Well, but there are other nutrients too. What about vitamins A and D and E and K, selenium? These are all can be depleted by statin drugs. How about antacids? So when you look in the minerals, when you see a lot of minerals, when I see B12 and I see a good amount of minerals, I also see B1, iron, copper, zinc, right away I think acid, acid production in the stomach. And then very often, I think this happens to you too, where patients will be taking an antacid, but they forget to tell you because they've been taking it so long, they forget that they're even taking it. So that could be a real problem. How about thyroid patterns? When I see iodine, then I always jump over to look at selenium. And then I look at iron, I look at zinc. This person happens to be fine on all this. Tyrosine, copper, these are all nutrients that are important for thyroid function. So not to say that the person has thyroid issues, but once again, if we don't replete these, any of these functions that these nutrients are important for, they will likely end up with issues with regard to that. But when I do see thyroid patterns, it very often is the patient does have thyroid issues. Gut issues. So looking at the amino acids, you'll see, I know you can't see it, but glutamine is second from the bottom on the amino acids on the left. When you see glutamine, right away, think gut permeability or leaky gut. So then of course, we work with food sensitivity testing, the ALCAT test. So very often I say, yeah, look at your glutamine, look at your tryptophan. That's another nutrient that could be signaling leaky gut. Omega-9, another one, zinc. I mean, the list goes on really for gut health patterns. And then of course, when you couple it with the food sensitivity test, you can say, yeah, I bet my life that you got some leaky gut going on. How about a blood glucose pattern? When I see chromium under the minerals, I right away jump to vanadium. Very often you see that together. Then I look at inositol, bottom of the page. lipoic acid, another one, choline, another one, delta-tocotrienol, magnesium. These are all important, glycine, another one. These are all important for glucose metabolism, and some of them are more important for insulin sensitivity of the, the sensitivity of the cells to the insulin the person produces. So this is important to do, to look for patterns so that you can know, how to go about repleting and how to kind of correlate this with what the patient is experiencing. So then the next test will be the redox and the antioxidant protection assay. So this is the next part of the cellular nutrition assay. It's a very cool test. So you see the same kind of scoring as was done in the first assay. When you see this blue and light green and red bar here, the far left is the patient's baseline cellular activity rate. The middle area is the increase in the activity of the cells, a little bit of increase, and the far right is a significant increase, just different colors. And why is that? Well, the first thing that they'll do is they do the redox. So you see this number 98 in the magnifying glass on the top. So that's the redox score. So as we all know, just living and breathing and eating in our world, we are, coming across free radicals, even though we try hard, we don't smoke, we don't drink, we, stay away from toxins, we eat fresh and local and organic, we try not to be stressed, but all these things, create free radicals. But even if we're trying hard to avoid them, we're coming across these free radicals. So we want a good antioxidant capacity of our cells. And that's what Cell Science Systems does first. So they'll take a specimen of the patient's cells and they challenge the cells with free radicals. They challenge the cells with hydrogen peroxide, which will generate free radicals. And then they have these cells challenged with the hydrogen peroxide for 2 days. So the way you read this is on day 1, we all start off with 100% of our cells. After 2 days of being with this hydrogen peroxide, this patient did great, only lost 2% of the cells, went down to 98%. So this is good. You're not going to see that often, right? And then this is the only part of the whole test that's compared to sample population. So you see that white diamond in the bar on the right? That's this person's 98. So it's really above average, right? So you're just going to say to this patient, wow, that's great. How are we going to keep it that way? How are we going to keep your antioxidant capacity that way? But for most people, you're going to be saying, how can we get this better? And that's where the next assay comes in, the antioxidant protection assay. So the difference with this assay, 49 specimens of the person's cells. The difference, though, here is the cells are in the hydrogen peroxide, which is free radicals trying to make the cells die. So they say, all right, which antioxidant botanical or nutrient that was added to each specimen, one at a time, which ones not only prevented the cells from dying, but which ones actually enhanced the activity of the cells even while they were in this hydrogen peroxide. So that's why they'll report it as, like, for example, antigraphis, which VitaminLab just added to their formulary. The antigraphis was protective, meaning because it increased the activity of the cells to 117%. The acai berry increased it to 124%. So you could choose to utilize that in your patient's formula. So that's what the APA test is all about, and the Redox Score. Now, with every cellular nutrition assay test result, when you go to retrieve your patient's test results, there'll be a list. There'll be a supplement starter. Let's call it a starting supplement list. But it's based on the patient's cellular nutrition assay test results. And you'll see what's listed here, is really correlating with that result we were just looking at. They put biotin in here, they put boswellia in here, carnitine, and so forth, and I'll tell you why. Why do we put biotin in there? Insufficient. Why did they put boswellia in there? Because it was highly protected. So they'll tell you that. This is a good starting point, and what you're able to do is you can use this as is, but I highly recommend that you dig in deeper and personalize it even more, because some points I want to bring across about this. When you go back to, that's okay. When you go back to the test results, if a person's, let's say their magnesium was 109%, right? It was in the green. right? But I would probably say, yeah, I'm gonna add more magnesium to this patient's routine because it didn't increase it all the way up to borderline, but it still increased it. So I'm gonna add that. And just so keep in mind, nothing that was in the green in the micronutrient assay is going to be added to this list. So, but you might decide. The other thing is, Sarah and I did this algorithm together many years ago for these doses. And I could tell you, when you look at these, those of you who are, familiar with dosing and supplementing your patients, you might look at these and say, wow, these are really conservative doses. And yeah, we did make them conservative. And why is that? Well, because there are some practitioners who might just choose to order this as is. And what I would want is, let's look at what the patient has been supplementing with for the last 6 months to determine, let's, for example, say, well, 500 micrograms of B12. Well, my patient's already taken 500 for the last 6 months, so let me increase the dose. So in other words, you want to, determine what the patient's been doing. The other thing is medications and botanicals that might be added from the antioxidant protection assay. It's a good idea for you to kind of take a look at the medications that, and are there any botanical medication interactions? And this is awesome about VitaminLab. When you go to their portal, you'll be able to click on a botanical that you might want to consider adding to the formula, and you'll be able to bring up a whole monograph from the Natural Medicines Comprehensive Database about that particular botanical and if it does have interactions with particular medications. So that's a great resource. So anyway, those are some things that you want to consider when you're looking at this PDF.
Awesome. Yeah, I would love to take through the next portion of this, which is how to transfer the formula over from the Cell Science Systems portal, from this supplement PDF that gets automatically generated, over to the VitaminLab portal. And then you can use all those amazing insights that Amy just shared and really custom create your formula for your patient each time. So all you have to do is click, this is a clickable link here. You can click order here, and that will automatically open up your VitaminLab account. If you have not yet registered for an account, I did add a link in the chat here to create your account. We've also got some contact information for both Cell Science Systems there and VitaminLab. So create a VitaminLab account first. If you're logged into your VitaminLab account, this page will automatically pop up, which is so awesome. It's such an easy integration. Then just a quick tour here of our formula editing page. So lots of really cool features and capabilities for you to utilize here. Your first section is going to be your order options. You have a supply length amount here. So this is how long you're going to be sending the formula for. The minimum supply length option for a personalized blend is 60 days, maximum is 180 days, and then the default is set to 90 days there. You can also set up auto refills to ensure a super low touch, easy way to send refills once that first 90 days is up so that you don't miss any doses. Or you can do no auto refills and use our super handy refill filter in your order history tab as well. Then your dose type. So for every formula, you can choose either veggie capsules or powder. So beneficial for a lot of patients that don't like taking capsules or can't take capsules to do powder formulas. You'll notice as soon as I hit powder, we do get a little bit of a warning here. Check for unfavorable tastes in your powdered formulation. It's indicated by the red asterisks on certain ingredients. So if I scroll down here, this is the formula that is transferred over already. Some of the ingredients have this red asterisk indicating that stronger or more unpleasant flavor here. So you can either, create a separate formula that's capsules for those ingredients and then, powder for the rest, or you can find another way to do that if it's powder necessary. So veggie capsules, again, here is your default. When you scroll down to the nutrient section, we're highlighted here as list all. So the first ingredients that you see here will be the ones that are pre-dosed from that supplement PDF. You have the ability to modify any of these doses. We have a minimum and a maximum dose for each ingredient. And then you'll also see a couple of icons here. So for myo-inositol, there's a pharmaceutical consideration. So if there's any contraindications with any medications they're already taking, it'll be indicated there. There's also a supplement consideration pop up here. So anything further we want you to know or consider when recommending that. For example, if you look at copper, if I type it in here, let's say copper, and we go to consideration, it's going to let you know about the reduced absorption of copper if you have high doses of zinc in there. So trying to balance that out in your formulation. You can also from here add more value to your personalized supplement. So going back to the top, right away, you'll be able to see your formula total. So estimated capsules, this is how many capsules per day the patient will need to take to attain the dosage of all of these ingredients that you have in your formula summary. So if we took a look at this formula and tried to kind of piecemeal together different generic supplements from, that are already available on the market, it would be pretty hard to do, but you might end up with 6-7 different bottles, a lot of capsules per day. So this is just 4 capsules per day. We typically see a reduction in capsule count when custom compounding by at least 30%. So that's a huge benefit to your patient to not be so pill fatigued. You'll also be able to see the 2 different billing options that we have available for you. So just depending on how you set up your program for your patients, a lot of our practitioners that are, solo practices, they don't have any assistants or front desk staff going, they choose our monthly retail price. This is a much more hands-off approach. Patient pays VitaminLab on a monthly payment plan for the duration of the supply length, and then you get a built-in margin of 25% automatically direct deposited back to you. So 3 payments of $133 per month for the patient to pay VitaminLab, and then you get that 25% of that full 3 payment amount, which would be just about $100 for this formula. You can also choose the wholesale cost here. Wholesale cost is the cost to you, the clinic, for the full 90-day supply. So no payment plan here, rather than it being $396 retail. Here it's just $247 wholesale, and then you can mark it up and charge your patient in office as much or as little as you want. A lot of our program partners are offering different types of programs on their website. So they'll offer a custom supplement and the CNA test as a bundle for their patient, and have just a set cost with your built-in margin for that, covering your consultation costs as well. So that's the 2 different billing options, but I did want to show you how you can add a lot more value and modify it like Amy was saying. So let's say this patient was having some digestive issues and you want to add some probiotics. You can go categories, probiotics. You can add any probiotics that you want. If you click add, it just very handy adds our standard dose amount. And then we've added 3 great probiotics here, so they no longer have to take that on the side. And then if you keep your eye here on the monthly retail price, you'll click calculate price and it will automatically update. It only added $3 per month. So now you've ended up saving your patient a lot of money. So just a nice way to pack in a little bit of extra value in there. Did not add any capsules to that formula either. We do also have a lot of really great pre-formulated VitaminLab protocols that you can search for and add on to any formula. So if you wanted to add on GLP-1 agonist optimal digest, one of our most popular protocols, this is a really nice supportive blend to assist in any digestive side effects that are coming along with taking GLP-1s. So you can add this on to any personalized formula. And again, it'll be custom compounded with everything else here. You do still have the ability to edit any of your protocols. So if there's something in here that you don't want to include, you can just edit that and apply. Awesome. Okay. Finalizing the order is really easy as well. You just click on Buy Now. You'll then be prompted to select your preferred billing method. So either that monthly retail price here or the wholesale cost. If you choose the monthly retail price, this just prompts you to enter in the patient's name, phone number, and email address. Once you check this box and confirm the order, it sends a payment confirmation email from VitaminLab to your patient automatically. So you can just let them know that that email is coming, give them a heads up. It is a monthly payment plan, and so that they're aware it will come out monthly. And once they pay their first monthly payment, the order will go into production. If we choose that wholesale cost, this again is billing the clinic rather than billing the patient directly. You do still have the ability to ship directly to the patient. So you can use that toggle here. Your card and information will be saved here. You'll just add in the patient shipping information to confirm the order. Those with keen eyes will see that there is a VitaminLab credit here added. So all of you have as a new account with VitaminLab, will have a $100 credit automatically added to your account. You can utilize this on your first wholesale order. You can also utilize it toward setting up your private label template, which has a $100 fee to it. So then you're all set up to go, and you can order at any time with a private label already set up. Okay. Amy, I know we had a couple more slides here. Amy's just going to review the PreviMedica program and how that can support you in really refining your nutrition and health programs. And then we'll get to some questions.
So as I mentioned, PreviMedica, we're a digital health membership. We've been seeing people virtually for 14 years. And what we do too, in addition to seeing our own patients, is for practitioners who are using cell science systems for testing, the half-hour complimentary review education session for the test results is offered for any test that cell science systems offers. So we can meet with you as the practitioner or the patient, or you and the patient together for any of the tests. And I say education because just know that if someone on my team or I are meeting with one of your patients, it's just education. There's not going to be any clinical guidance provided at that session. Any kind of specific questions about the nutrition plan or supplement routine, we will always direct them back to the ordering practitioner. However, when I'm meeting with you as a practitioner, or Dr. Grabowski, who I did forget to mention, Dr. Grabowski does monthly webinars that I would highly recommend that you attend last Tuesday every month to go over the CNA and different patterns that some of them I mentioned. But when we are meeting with patients, when we are meeting with practitioners, we're very specific about what we suggest you consider for the patient's nutrition plan, because we'll find out more from you. You will be the one who will be responsible for implementing that plan. So that's why we feel comfortable doing that. But when we're meeting with your patient without you, that's not going to happen. It's just education. Now, another thing that we do is you could use us. If you do not have a nutritionist on your team, practitioners use us to fill that role for them. A lot of times practitioners say, I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to individualize a nutrition plan. You can utilize us to do that for you, for your patients. And within this scenario, we either do a month membership or we have a single nutrition session. We will devise the individualized nutrition plan. And we will also customize the supplement routine. So we'll go create that custom formula that Sarah just showed you how to do. We will do that for you based on what we suggest, and then you will place that order for the patient. So that's how we can support you in that regard, but you could use us for all nutrition. And then the meal planning, I believe, is mentioned on here too. We, of course, we have that meal planning software that you can customize meal plan tools if you're using the food sensitivity testing. And then the last thing, the next slide, Sarah, would be the supplement plan. So even though in that scenario I just described, we would customize a supplement plan for your patient for you, rather than you having to do it. But sometimes practitioners don't want us to do the whole month membership or nutrition session. They just want us to do the supplement plan for them. We're happy to do that too. And what we would do is have the patient, you fill out the health questionnaire. We would create the supplement formula for you, and then you would order it for your patient. So if you need help with all that, we're here to help you.
It's amazing. Yeah, we have lots of practitioners that do take advantage of that and are forever grateful for your support. And I always get amazing feedback from our practitioners about you and your team. So.
Glad to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to open it up for questions so we can review some of those. If you do have any questions that have come up either for myself or for Amy, please do add them in the Q&A section of the chat here. And then, yeah, without further ado, I will go for this first question here. So do you account for certain vitamins and minerals that should not be taken together? This is a really good question. So VitaminLab has sourced all of our ingredients with that at top of mind to ensure that there's not that competing quality for those nutrients. Again, though, we do have those additional icons here that would indicate if there's something that you need to consider, like with the zinc or the copper. So with zinc, if I go here, if this is in the formula, you can click on that icon. It says it's recommended to add some copper to this formula to avoid any deficiencies. So anything that should be, you know, outwardly noticed there, it'll be indicated here.
Can I say something, Sarah?
Mm-hmm.
So, and also that particular scenario is not going to be on that supplement PDF. So there again, this is why I think it's a good idea for, you know, everyone to understand, okay, when you're suggesting zinc, we should also suggest copper, vice versa. That's not automatically going to be on that list. The other thing I didn't mention too is not, and you look at the antioxidant protection assay and you say, well, why wasn't ginkgo included in the formula? Well, if the patient did the ALCAT test on the same day, let's say they reacted to ginkgo in the test, it's the algorithm factors in that data from the ALCAT test, also methyl detox profile if the patient did the test, those testing on the same day. So that's, you know, why you might say, well, how come it's not in there? And it does do that. The algorithm does do that.
Awesome. All right, second question here. Can the lab add the custom formula to a phospholipid liposome carrier? I'm assuming that's for us. So all of our formulas, they are, again, in powder form or in veggie capsule form. We do have some ingredients that are already in a phospholipid, so, or a liposomal phospholipid, so like green tea extract. And you can see here it's a phytosomal ingredient. We also have quercetin, which is that phytosome as well. Again, all of our ingredients are sourced with that bioavailability at top of mind. So if you go to our amino acids, we have the trace minerals. So those would be indicated here. The albion minerals are listed right here. So that's a standardized bisglycinate chelate. You might also notice, you know, sensoril ashwagandha, which is a standardized 10% lanthanol content. So really just sourcing with bioavailability at top of mind to begin with. Do we use ingredients from China? I love that question. So, but again, VitaminLab sources with highest quality at top of mind. We prioritize ingredients from North American and European sources. There are going to be some cases where you cannot buy them from anywhere else, but then rest assured that we are doing those tests as well. So again, here going back to our quality assurance slide, we are doing that third-party testing and testing on heavy metals specifically to ensure that there's no issues with any of the ingredients that we are carrying. Mm-hmm. I work with women in preconception. Is the CNA test able to adjust to meet goals of preconception patients? Amy.
Well, first of all, the testing would be appropriate for sure. But as far as the formula, the formula made is not necessarily what you want. It certainly doesn't know, what the patient has going on. I would invite you though or encourage you to, if you don't already have an account with Cell Science Systems, start an account. And then Dr. Grabowski has done, lots of great webinars on nutrient patterns and nutrients to consider, nutrients that could be depleted in certain conditions. And he has some hormonal sessions he's done, fertility he's done. So I would look at those. But if you're asking if the formula would be accommodating for that, no, it would be something that you would have to do, but the test would be appropriate.
And I think it's similar for the question right answer there. Do the tests consider oncology patients who cannot have certain B vitamins? Again, that would be something that you do have the ability and the control to modify your formula after you transfer it over to VitaminLab. You know your patients best, so we very highly recommend that you review that, make sure that there's no contraindications with any of the conditions that they have.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Is there pricing for the assays? Yeah, that can all be found on the Cell Science Systems website, unless pricing has changed recently.
No, I can tell you it's it's $199 for the site of Micronutrient is practitioner pricing for CMA, and $199 for the Redox APA. But if you order the whole test, it's $299 together.
So $100 off if you're ordering both together. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, more feedback from practitioners that I'm speaking with every day. The Cell Science Systems test is the most comprehensive micronutrient analysis at the best value. And then you add on the benefit of our integration with it. We have a lot of very happy practitioners that utilize both services. What about the custom blends to be added to liposomal carriers in the future? I would recommend, if you want to maybe expand on what you're asking there and send an email to practitioners at Get Vitamin Lab. We're always looking to expand our offerings and improve our offerings. So if there's something that you want to request in the future, we definitely take those into consideration. And if there's enough demand for something like that, we would, be able to accommodate that eventually. How large will the pills be? So they are actually not very big. They're a standard 00 size capsule. So they're not horse pills by any means. And again, you're reducing capsule count by at least 30% when you're custom compounding. So reduced capsule numbers is always a plus, but also it's a really easy pill to take. Okay. How often should the ALCAT test be repeated? So there's ALCAT test, and then there's also CMA testing.
So the cellular nutrition assay, we suggest no sooner than 6 months, because just like it's a reflection of about that much, it's also generally takes a good 6 months of doing all the right thing to replete those nutrients. So we recommend the CNA to be retested in no sooner than 6 months. Now, the ALCAT test, we would suggest 9 months. And the reason for that is because once the person has avoided the reactive foods for the right period of time, they need to go through a systematic reintroduction of those previously reactive foods, one at a time. So that process takes a while. And because of that, it's generally around 9 months after the original after the last test. A lot of times when people do both, they'll do both testing at 9 months.
That makes sense. Okay. So I think that was all the questions that we had here. Thanks, Jolene, for that last question. I wanted to go to our last page here so that you have our contact information readily available. You'll notice at 15% off your next wholesale order here. I'll offer you the discount code or the promo code that can be off checkout at your wholesale checkout page. You can enter that in. It will also be emailed to you as well. And then again, you do get that $100 sign up credit from VitaminLab. I believe Cell Science Systems also offers a 50% off voucher on the first test. Amy?
But they could, yeah, when they start an account, it's right there, connect.cellsciencesystems.com to start a practitioner account. You could certainly chat with the customer service team, who are wonderful and very helpful, about any promotions or discounts that might be offered.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for joining us today. I look forward to chatting with you all in the future. You will receive a copy of this recording. Again, there to get set up with Cell Science Systems, you go to the connect.cellsciencesystems.com. I did put that all in the chat as well, so that's you can just open up that link in your tabs right now, and then we'll go from there. So once you register for an account with VitaminLab, you'll be prompted to book a demo with us. You might meet with me or my colleague Talia. We can go into the details of your specific programs and offerings. Happy to offer that personalized approach for making sure that your program is a success and up and running. All right. We're going to end the meeting here. Again, thank you all so much for coming, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sarah.
Bye-bye.
Very much. Good night.